Ay, la niña que no puede tomar. Una, dos, tres, ¡salud!
Slancha. Ironically, it means health.
Health?
Yeah, that's what it means. Health. To your health. Whiskey number one. The one we're all drinking here. Now, this is the most common style of whiskey on the planet. This is a blended whiskey. But it is a very, very interesting blend. It's a quintuple blend. There is 5. I like number 2 a lot because it is a pot still whiskey. A single pot still whiskey called the Busker. Now, it is the traditional Irish way to make whiskey. So how do you make pot still? You have to use barley. All barley. Do not put the continuous still anywhere near this. This all has to be made in the traditional 3-pot method. And a percentage of the barley that you use needs to be raw, unmalted. Don't malt it. And that will release oils. Swirl number 2. If you swirl number 2, you will see the oily content coalescing in little rivulets that run down the side of the glass. In wine tasting, these are called... Not in whiskey tasting. They're called tears in whiskey tasting. Because we're pretentious. The writer's tears, that's what they're known as. Come on, have a smell, have a drink. You'll notice that this is smooth. That's the oil content in it. Helps make it a lot more smooth. Now, it's still young whiskey. It hasn't been aged for very long, so it still does have a little bit of that sulphide old taste. But Australia, this is what you guys have gone mad for recently. I'd love to get down to Hobart at some point just to see what they're doing, because I'm really fascinated by it. Cool. By the way, I know for a fact that this one is going to be going to America. They're really going to the American market here. So that one little thing. It's the only whiskey here that you will see what the proof is. Proof is only used in the United States of America. The rest of the world uses ABV, alcohol by volume, and the metric system. By the way, America, you do know that it goes day, month, year, right? You ever tried to format an Excel sheet in America? It's a nightmare. Alright, I really love pot still whiskies. They're my favourite style of whiskey. Due to the oil content on them, I find them wonderfully smooth. Okay, number 3. Oh, by the way, go with your own speed. Don't think that you have to follow me. Just go bum bum bum. The only rule to having a whiskey is to enjoy it. It's true, honestly. I know a lot of people who think there are so many good and different and popular ways that you have to drink whiskey in this way. Nah, the only thing you have to do is enjoy what you're doing. Number 3. The Irishman. Do you know why they call it the Irishman? It's so smooth. Yeah, it is. I don't need to be exhibiting why that ain't true. But it is a smooth whiskey. This is what we know as a champagne blend. Now that's a blended whiskey. You may notice that number 2 has the moniker single. This has single pot still whiskey. The first one doesn't have that. So what does single mean? Single means that it's all made in one place. It's all made in one distillery. If you're getting a bunch of liquids from a bunch of different distilleries and blending them together, you can't legally call your whiskey single. However, even though this one is a blended whiskey, it's 2 different whiskies mixed together, and both of those whiskies are single whiskies. A single malt from Bushmills and a single pot still from the Middleton distillery. So even though this isn't a single whiskey, they
no puedo, pero quiero poner la diferencia. 1, 2, 3. Así los hemos probado. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's the one that gets a laugh, okay?
Why not?
Why not indeed? And my favourite bit about this bottle It's 50 milliliters bigger than the other two. There's a cool thing you can do with number 3. If you have some of number 3 left, smell it, okay? Get very familiar with how number 3 smells. You'll notice it's not that strong compared to the first one. All right. Once you think you know exactly how that smells, cover it with your hand. Don't let the air into it. And then give it a good, proper shake. Give it a good, proper agitation. Just for about 5 seconds.
Just be careful, please.
And don't worry, it's not going to affect the taste, and if you get some on your hands, have perfume. Now, once it's agitated, smell it again. See if you notice a difference. There we go. It should be much bigger now, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Take a drink of this one. This is one of my favorite whiskeys. Irishman. A lot bigger. Do you know what you've done there? You have heated up your whiskey a little bit. And by doing that, you release the flavours. You release flavours when you heat up whiskey. When you cool down alcohol, you hide flavours. You mask how it tastes if you cool it down. Which is why a lot of whiskey snobs will never, ever, ever allow you to add ice. I honestly don't care. If you own whiskey, you are allowed to do whatever the hell you want to it. If you want to add Red Bull to a 21-year-old Scotch, go ahead, I don't care. But if you really want to appreciate the flavour, don't cool down your alcohol. You see, if you're drinking an alcoholic beverage that's freezing cold, the person that made it does not want you to taste it. There is a reason Coors Light is served at that temperature, guys. I believe the Germans will refer to that one as Pisswasser. Very much like making love in a canoe, that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if you want examples, somebody got the joke. If you want examples, go to Germany. You're never going to see them take a beer out of the fridge, mainly just from one of the things, because their beer tastes amazing. So, that's why, usually don't add ice. God, I love that one. If you like this one, I'd recommend a whiskey called Writer's Tears. It's made by the same group, the Walshes. Fantastic whiskey blenders. So, single malt, I'm sure you've heard those terms before. Single, all one location, malt, all made exclusively from malted barley, from the old pot method. And that 12 is a minimum age. There very well might be older whiskies in there. But if the youngest whiskey is 12, that's what has to be on the bottle. If I got 1 drop of number 3 and put it into number 4, legally, the single goes away and the 12 becomes a 5. So yeah, in wine and brandy it's an average age. Not in whiskey, it's the youngest.